What's going on, everybody, and welcome on in to episode 307 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you. Wow, you just made that worse. Brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. The OBR is.
You see me now?
I can see you. It's fuzzy. I mean, that is how you're making it worse. It got significantly worse. Use your sleeve. Yeah, there you go. This is the way we want to start the show. We're just going to watch Chad clean his camera. That's what we're doing out on the porch. No, we've got a great episode here on episode 307, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. The OBR is Cleveland's oldest and largest independent Browns coverage site. And so you can be a part of it by getting over to the OBR.com, hitting subscribe, and you can see all the best Browns articles. You can be a part of all the message boards and everything talking about the Browns. You get to be a part of the streaming network. Again, 4 nights a week right now of nonstop Browns coverage. Plus, remember, about a month from now, we got the OBR Draft Cave. We're going to be wall-to-wall draft coverage. You won't want to miss that. And then Wednesday nights, 9 p.m., you get to hang out with us. So go subscribe to the OBR. If you're joining us live here tonight, welcome. We want to have you as part of the show. I see Chris already in the comments. Evening, Mike and Chad. Evening back to you, Chris. Good to have you here. Excited for a great show. We have got a lot to get to tonight because we've got our Cleveland Guardians season preview. It is Guards ball season starting tomorrow night. Season opening day. Tomorrow night, obviously not opening day here in Cleveland, but baseball finally getting underway. We've got the Cavaliers playing pretty well. We'll talk about that. We got the Columbus Blue Jackets playing out of their minds, making this playoff push. We're going to talk about that. We got March Madness. We're going to talk about that. We even had a little bit of Browns news happen tonight. We are going to talk about that as well. And so it's a great show for you to be a part of, and we are glad you're here. Again, Pat Shea in the comments. Cheers, buddy. We're glad you're here. Per Jack Duffin, who we just had on my last show, as if you saw it. Chad, before we even get started, Chris wants to know what you're eating. Because you're always eating.
I'm just eating some mini Oreos. Oreos and some coffee. It's okay.
I know.
It's okay. Welcome to the first CPR class, dear co-host.
Did you hear Peter Griffin has a mustache?
I know.
All right. With you as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Go find me online at Garage Beers Mike. And joining me, my co-host over on the east side of Cleveland, out on the porch on this beautiful night, it is Chad Meyer at Garage Beers. Chad, what's up, Chad? What's going on?
Thank God they let us talk about other sports, because if I had to talk about the Browns every week, I'm not kidding. I would quit the show.
Kick my own ass.
I would quit the show. Honestly, obviously I know like the draft is cool. I love coming up on the draft. I love talking about the draft, but like if I had to talk about the Browns every single week, every single show, I would shoot myself in the face.
We'd have to go back. I'd rather go back to the days of us just talking about Tiger King.
Yes, it's so much more fun. Thank God. But here we are.
There actually is a little interesting Browns news that we'll get to later. I want to hear your take on it. As we had, if you caught Inside the Browns Beat, my other show earlier tonight, we had Jack Duffin on to give his take on it, and it's really interesting. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But before we get into all of it, we got to start our show by doing our Garage Beers of the Week. And so if you're drinking a beer with us or anything you're drinking with us, make sure you put it in the comments. But Chad, why don't you kick us off here, buddy? What's your Garage Beer of the Week this week?
I think I have a confession to make, Mike. It's just, I think I'm getting bored with beer. What kind
of stupid shit are you about to say?
I was in the aisle at the grocery store the other day, and I'm just sitting there looking at IPA after IPA after IPA after IPA on the walls, and I'm just, nothing excites me, right? It's all the same. You're just looking for the wittiest name, like, oh, this one's, cowboy horse shit. It's made with all these different hops, and like it doesn't excite me anymore. So what I did was I went to like the single can aisles, and I just made myself my own little mixed 6-pack. See if that would excite me. So the next 6 weeks, you're going to see 6 different beers, and I'm just trying to mix it up, right? I'm just trying to reignite my excitement for beer. And Mike, you're going to hate this, but this one I have this week is from Urban Artifact. It's an American fruit tart. It's the vanilla orange American fruit tart. It's called Chime.
Nobody can see anything clearly on your camera anyways. It's fine.
Wait. Shabuzi. There you go.
I mean, yeah, it's still fuzzy as hell.
Well, you're fuzzy as hell, but fuzzy guy from a fuzzy individual. And there it is. It looks like a slice, like an orange slice. Remember those the old sodas, the slice cans?
Of course.
It looks like that. I have a feeling it's orange and vanilla, so I have a feeling this tastes like a creamsicle. I'm really excited about it, actually.
If it tastes like a creamsicle, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But does it have that weird sour beer taste at the end where you're like,
no,
I don't like it?
No, honestly, this tastes like one of those orange slices that I just talked about. Those old sodas with a hint of vanilla in it. It's delicious. I highly recommend it.
Again, we got to start.
It's a sour that's not that sour.
We got to start getting creative with our beers again. But yes, I do like that you did that. So shout out to you. Good shout out to Urban Artifact there as well. Yeah. I went ahead and just, oh my God, I'm dropping it everywhere.
Did you spill it?
Spill it. I just went and got one of the 12 packs, the Brewdog, nice. 12 packs. And I just reached in and grabbed the first one that I grabbed. And it was the Brewdog Hop Fiction Session IPA. And so an interesting thing for me, because, normally I'm hitting these IPAs. You can turn your light back on now if you want to. Normally I'm hitting these IPAs and they're coming at you 8%, 9%, whatever. This one, the Hop Fiction, the Session IPA, 5%. So it's a nice, easy, little light IPA. Gives it that kind of look. It's kind of a mix. Again, the Session beer gives it a little bit more of a Belgian feel. Kind of a mix between that West Coast and that East Coast. And it's pretty delicious, if I do say so myself.
Didn't someone just buy Brewdog? Didn't someone just...
I can't remember. I mean, Brewdog's a Scottish company, so I don't know. I mean, I know they do the majority of their work in the U.S. out of Columbus, but I don't know. They're a hard one to keep track of what the hell's going on because it's everywhere. Yeah, but
I didn't look too deep into it though. But what's with this? Because I saw the Saucy CEO came on the socials and started giving a message. What's going on? What's going on with craft breweries?
I have no idea. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Saucy Brewer CEO is trying to fight back on some sort of veto that.
Oh no! It's the yeah. Well, we could talk about this because this could be an asshole of the week. The Ohio State government could be an asshole of the week for the fact that all of the voters just dominated in the polls a couple years ago, and made marijuana legal and THC legal and all that. And they just were going to do anything they could do to fight back on that. So the reason they're fighting back is because those THC seltzers have been huge for breweries. Yeah. Great Lakes does them. Saucy. I mean, pretty much any decent sized brewery was doing the THC seltzers. Yeah. And then the Ohio came out and were like, well, you can't do that because again, and I don't give a shit what side of the aisle you're on. Our government is just run by a bunch of crotchety old white dudes that just feel like they gotta make rules about everything, and they gotta have their say in bullshit all the time. And that's what Ohio did again. And then Dopey DeWine was like, "I'm gonna sign it," and they made him illegal. And it's gonna. I mean, these places invested money into creating these products that were legalized by the voters, and the government's just like, yeah, your vote doesn't really matter. And they made it illegal. So,
all right then.
Yeah, oh God, Chef Brian Case says, yeah, THC seltzers taste way better than bong water. Trust me.
Yeah, that's most likely.
I'll put it in terms you understand, Chef. Heard. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's an early asshole of the week, but it's just the government just being stupid again. But yes, that's why they're protesting. So
all right, fair enough.
That's the story.
Yeah.
All right, we got our beers. You guys put yours in the comments, and we'll throw them up here. But let's dive into episode 307, and we're going to start with baseball because get ready, everybody. The opening day for Major League Baseball, well, for the Guardians, is tomorrow. They are out in Seattle, Washington, taking on a daunting task. The Guardians' schedule to start the year sucks ass.
Yeah.
They have got a brutal stretch. including a team that was very close to the World Series last year and obviously has World Series aspirations this year. They're going to be taking on our old buddy Josh Naylor, who God knows we couldn't have signed back here because he wouldn't have been good for the Guardians.
No.
Don't get me started.
But we enjoyed him. We enjoyed
him. But they're taking on the Seattle Mariners. That game, 9:35, I believe, is the first pitch of that game, Eastern time tomorrow. So excited for it. A little bummed that they're starting on the West Coast because I need some sleep, and I'm not going to get it because I'm going to be watching these games. But we're going to be talking about baseball. We're going to go through our Guardians season preview. Plus, we're going to do a quick division by division preview. I do want to get this up here. Eric Schroeder got a Trogs Graffiti Highway double IPA. Shout out to Eric.
Look at that handsome devil in that profile pic. That's my buddy Eric.
Handsome fellow right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. So, Chad, let's get into baseball and let's talk about the Cleveland Guardians because now we have an idea. No, we don't have an idea. We know what the roster looks like. We know how things shook out. And so let's just talk about them real quick because I want to hear this from you before we really dive into the players and all that. Based on the offseason, based on where they're at, knowing that I really feel like we on this show did a good job of not setting expectations anywhere because it's futile.
Sure.
But talk to me about how you're feeling coming into this year as opposed to maybe the last couple of years.
Same as I do every year. They didn't do anything in the offseason. They're relying on the young guys. They're relying on the development of the young guys. It's going to be a butthole puckered situation every time Chase DeLauder is involved in any sort of play, whether it be catching the baseball or hitting the baseball. Like, oh God, did he strain a calf in that home run trot? Please, God. Although I am excited about everything he did this spring, and I think if he can stay healthy, that might be the help that Jose needs in this offense. And then the rotation, I don't know. I don't know whether they're going to be able to take a step forward or take a step back because both your top guys in Bibee and Williams were inconsistent last year. So, I mean, they're going to need some help from the bottom guys in Cantillo and
Parker Messick.
That's it. You're going to need those guys to be good next year to be able to make up for their inconsistencies. So, yeah, honestly, I feel the same. I have all of my doubts. There's no reason for me to put the Guardians in first place in this division, but they're somehow going to find a way to win 90 games and be right in the mix of things. So, yeah, I love baseball. I'm excited for baseball season, but my expectations for the Guardians just have remained the same that they always do.
Yeah, listen, I'm a little more excited going into this year than I was last year. And maybe it's because they got rid of Josh Naylor, and maybe it's because they tried to force Carlos Santana, 40-year-old Carlos Santana down our throats, and Nolan Jones, and bullshit, just a load of crap, right? And this year it wasn't that. It was, all right, we got Chase. They called him up. They called up Chase DeLauder last year. It's like, cool. He's part of the team. And we saw little snippets from guys like CJ Kafis last year to be impactful players. And so there wasn't like a big exit this year, which makes me excited. And then that like weird addition in spring training has got me feeling some kind of way. And I'm feeling a little bit more positive this year than I did last year going into the season. But my train of thought is on par with yours, Chad. I cannot stack them up against the top teams. Something special is going to happen for them to win the division. It's going to have to be a situation like what happened last year of just erasing a 15-game lead and just getting hot at the right time and winning the division.
Yeah.
But if we go through this, there's a couple things that really stand out to me. And if we start with the rotation, because I think it's a pertinent place to start, because, again, we've become so used to no matter what the Guardians' offense looks like, the rotation will carry.
Yeah,
and
it's what they base their identity on.
And they did at times last year, but I think certain things are the major stories for the Guardians heading into this year. I think Tanner Bibee is a major story. He had a very up and down season last year. If you talk to reactionary Guardians fans, they will tell you he was terrible last year. He wasn't. He had some stretches where he was damn near unhittable last year. The problem is he also had some stretches where he was damn near not unhittable last year. And the inconsistency was the problem. He was too easy to hit at times. And for me, the top of the story, the number one storyline for the Guardians this year is Tanner Bybee. I don't know that Tanner Bybee needs to be an ace in the sense of one of the best pitchers in baseball kind of guy. But I think Tanner Bybee needs to be a reliable, I know when he's on the mound, he's going to give the Guardians a shot. Start in, start out, night in, night out. Tanner Bybee needs to be some level of consistently good for the Guardians this year. That to me is storyline number one.
Yeah, I mean, him and Gavin Williams both. I mean, I think if again, they've based their identity on this rotation, and I think if they're going to have any moniker of success or to avoid having to erase a 15-game lead again this year, I think Gavin and Tanner need their ERAs at least in the threes. You can't be up in the fours like Tanner was, right? They need that out of those two guys to give themselves a chance this year. So I totally agree. When Tanner Bybee was so Jekyll and Hyde last year that, you know, he was, like you said, he was either very hittable, and like by very hittable, I mean he was hanging everything.
Yes.
Still in the middle of the zone. Every breaking ball just ended up right in the guy's kitchen, and he would give up 5 home runs a game.
Yes.
But he did have stretches where he looked like the ace that they were paying him to be. So if he can give me more of that instead of, hey, I'm going to just lace this, I'm just going to give this free heater right to you down over the middle of the plate. But if he can give me more of the other version of him, then yeah, that would do well. That would do the Guardians well.
Well, and I think those two guys that you touched on there, we've got to see some mental growth out of both of them. Tanner Bybee has been a bit of a mental case, and it appeared early on in Stephen Vogt's tenure, he had kind of the key to Bybee's mental stuff. Yeah. Bybee gets down on himself really easily, and you saw it again early in his career. Vogt would go out, and it looked like he was going to take out Bybee, and then he'd be like, nah, you're staying in, and you're going to finish this shit out. Yeah. And it did something for Bybee. And then Bybee would go on a tear. He's got to keep that mentality. Gavin Williams, I don't think is the toughest mentally. He seems to just collapse. When things start going wrong, they go wrong. Yeah. For Gavin Williams. That stuff can't happen because truly the guy with the stuff to be the ace of this rotation is Gavin Williams.
Right.
So for me, Bybee is key. Williams and Ciccone just need to take a step forward. Ciccone needs to, every metric from last year said that Ciccone should have stunk, and he didn't because he was a bit of a gamer.
Right.
So he needs to keep that gamer mentality, and he needs to just find some stability and pitch that way. If that's going to be your number 3 starter, that's great. But then you get to the two guys. For me, the guys I'm most excited about in the rotation are 4 and 5. There are people legitimately saying they think Joey Cantillo is going to get Cy Young votes this year. They're anticipating him to be the breakout pitcher, not just for the Guardians, but even maybe in the division or in the American League. Joey Cantillo is expected to be a breakout. And I'm going to tell you what, from what I've seen out of Parker Messick, real early returns for me, I think those two guys could wind up the year being your top 2 pitchers in your rotation.
Which would be awesome. Which would offset any inconsistency that Williams and Bybee have. You know, I really love Cantillo's stuff when he's on, right? Like his curveball reminds me so much of Clayton Kershaw's. Just this big looping out of the zone, like fool you type of curveball, and then it drops right in up over your knees. So yeah, I really loved what I saw out of Cantillo last year from a location standpoint and movement standpoint on his pitches. Parker Messick to me is quite the wild card, right? Can he continue? Because he came up. I don't think didn't he come up from Double-A last year? Didn't they bring him up from Double-A last year?
Yep.
If he can continue that for sure, I do. I think you're right. I think those are the two I'm most excited to see going into this season. We kind of know what we got in Tanner and Gavin, but what can Joey and Parker build off of what they did last year? I hope so. I certainly hope so.
Well, and then you go to the lineup, right? And again, this is where I feel just a little more comfortable than I did last year. And who knows how it's going to work out. But you got Stephen Kwan. I know there's a lot of talk of him playing a lot more center field, and I would like them to have him playing a lot more center field this year. I think Kwan should be pretty much the center fielder. I do think with George Valera being out starting the year on the injured list, I think you're probably going to see more Angel Martinez, and I think you'll see him more in center field,
which is fine.
And you'll just keep Kwan in left. But listen, the stories with the lineup. Here's the quick stories for me, and I'll let you chime in. Kwan has to be better. That was not a good year for Stephen Kwan.
No,
it was a good year defensively for Stephen Kwan, but Stephen Kwan has to be a better baseball player than he was last year, and he's got to certainly get back to the hitting that made him what he was. Again, it seemed like 2 years ago, he found a nice stretch where we talked about it before 2 years ago. He needs to be more than just an easy slap singles hitter. He needs to be a little more impactful than that. And it's okay if he strikes out every once in a while, but then last year it was just, he couldn't really do much.
Yeah.
So he's got to be back. Stephen Kwan is a huge part of the story for the Guardians. We know what Jose Ramirez is going to be. He's going to be chasing a 40-40 season again. We know he's going to. Kyle Manzardo, can he continue? That dude needs to be playing just about every day. There's no excuses for him to just be a rotational piece anymore. And I think if Kyle Manzardo plays every day, he's a 30-homer guy.
Yeah.
Can guys, there's the questions. Can a guy like Bo Naylor and Angel Martinez, they had super hot springs. What can you take from that, though? Because we've seen over and over again, guys have hot springs. Angel Martinez was unbelievable this spring. Rhys Hoskins, I think, led the team in home runs this spring. Bo Naylor, between his experience for Team Canada in the World Baseball Classic and spring training, has looked pretty good. Can those guys carry that into the season? We know you're not going to get a lot offensively from the middle infield. Brian Rocchio and Gabriel Arias are not going to give you a lot offensively. But I think with the addition of Manzardo playing more full-time, I also think you may get some interesting lineups. David Fry's a guy. I'm not David Fry's biggest fan. I think what he did a couple years ago is more an outlier for a guy like him than what he really is. However, I do think something interesting that may open up with the injury to Hedges. Maybe Fry gets a few more chances behind the plate, and that puts him in the lineup a little more. That's kind of an interesting thing for me, especially against lefties. That might be interesting. Sure. But I think with Rhys Hoskins and Manzardo playing full-time, and now you got Chase DeLauder in right field. And again, you said it, and I don't want to harp on it, as long as he's healthy, and Jose Ramirez, and if Stephen Kwan can get back to Stephen Kwan things, this lineup could actually be pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of power in this lineup, and something that you haven't had for a really long time, like a really, really long time. This lineup has the potential to have the most homers that they've had since probably the 90s, right? Between DeLauder, between Jose, between Rhys Hoskins, Kyle Manzardo, who's
even Kafis.
Yeah, Kafis has some pop to him also, right? Like Manzardo, there's no excuse. You're right. There's no excuse for Manzardo not to play. Since first base is kind of cleaned out there, like Rhys Hoskins is your DH. Well, he can play first base whenever, Manzardo has the day off, right? Has his every other break, 7-game day off or whatever, however you separate that out. But Manzardo's your everyday first baseman. Rocchio and Arias, whatever. 8 and 9 hitter. I kind of write them off already, right? Because those are two guys, like I said, that we know what we're going to get out of them. But yeah, I mean, 1 through 7, there has a chance to be a lot of pop in this lineup, and I am excited to see that.
Yeah, and again, I even, some of the depth pieces, I brought up David Fry. If he can just be a guy that plays depth every once in a while, okay, I'm okay with that. You still got Daniel Schneemann. We'll see, I liked what I saw from CJ Kafis, and I think a little more experience does him well. So I think there's a little more depth. And if we get to June and either Brian Rocchio or Gabriel Arias is hitting 104 and doing nothing, then bring the kid up. Bring up Travis, bring up Bazana, and just give him the spot. And all of a sudden, this could be an even more potent lineup. So there's a part of me that's pretty excited about what the opportunity is for this Cleveland Guardians offense going into the year. Then we go,
Chad. Can you give me an Australian accent? Give me your best shot. Give me your best shot.
Or no.
Didn't something stupid happen with CJ's name this year too? Like, didn't he take out the dots in the CJ or like?
Oh, did he? Yeah. I don't know.
I thought I saw Zach tweet something out that like was C.J. No, it's just CJ this year.
So then lastly, it takes us to the bullpen. And a big piece of the bullpen, Hunter Gaddis, is going to start on the 15-day IL. But lots of new faces. Peyton Pallett, Colin Holderman, Connor Brogdon. These are guys, Sean Armstrong. These are guys you're going to see. At the end of it, though, Cade Smith is going to be your closer. And I think just having him go into the season as the closer is really good for him.
Sure.
And then I think one of the guys I'm most excited about, people are going to think I'm a little crazy for this, but I think Eric Sabrowski is going to be one of the best relief pitchers in the American League this year. I think Eric Sabrowski is primed for a breakout, and I think he is going to be just a major piece. And I think when you get Hunter Gaddis back, you're going to be right back to what the Guardians have had for so long, which is a 7, 8, 9 situation in the bullpen that if you're the opposing team, you do not want to be down to the Guardians going into the 7th inning because you're probably going to lose the game. I think that's where the Guardians are going to be.
I wonder who your setup man is going to be with Gaddis out on the IL. I wonder if it's either going to be Sabrowski or Heron or.
Well, I think it'll be Sabrowski. I think Heron's more just going to be what he's done in his career, which, by the way, Tim Heron, I think, is one of the better relief pitchers just to bring in terrible situations because he seems to always get out of it.
Right.
But I think Sabrowski will be on that list, and I think maybe Sean Armstrong.
That was the name that popped into my mind too.
Yeah. So, but again, it still brings me back to forget about asshole of the week for a minute. Asshole of the century. We were supposed to have more depth in Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase, and instead they're going to jail for like 60 years or something. So screw those guys.
Nice.
So that's
throw away your lives, boys. Way to throw away your lives.
That's the way the Guardians are going to look. They're going to come in with third year now manager and 2 out of 2 Major League Baseball Manager of the Year, Stephen Vogt. And we will see how they go. But, Chad, now let's just run real quick, division by division.
Okay.
And let's start in the Central because we've just gone down the Guardians. But let's talk about the rest of the AL Central because it's interesting. You've got the Royals, which I don't know if you remember what Team Italy did in the World Baseball Classic, but it feels like most of them were Kansas City Royals. But you got one of the best players in baseball, Bobby Witt Jr. You got Vinny Pasquantino. Jonathan India is out there. There's some questions. Lane Thomas is going to be playing for them, so that's really fun. Once some guys come off of the injured list, or we'll see. Jack Caglianone is going to be. He'll be out there. Kyle Isbell will be playing. That's a good lineup for the Royals. The Twins, I think, are going to stink real bad.
Them and the White Sox are just going to be right there at the bottom, fighting for the last place.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Ryan's going to be on the team at the end of the year. And with that, I also think Bailey Ober maybe could be like a trade candidate that I'd love the Guardians to look at a starting pitcher. And their lineup stinks. The White Sox, I think, are really interesting. Austin Hayes, these young dudes, Austin Hayes, Colson Montgomery. They brought in Munetaka Murakami. We'll see if he can make the move to Major League Baseball. But I think they've got a pretty potent lineup. I don't love their starting pitching. But what do you think? What do you think of the AL Central? Oh, I didn't even talk about the Tigers. The Tigers, their lineup's going to be good. Their rotation, Gleyber Torres, Matt Vierling, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Kerry Carpenter. We know what they can do.
It's the same thing.
I don't know that they really got better in the lineup this year, but Tarek Skubal, Framber Valdez, Jack Flaherty, Justin Verlander, and Casey Mize is the 5-man rotation.
Yeah, come on. Like,
yikes.
I mean that's going to win them, 100 games alone. Not 100 games, but that's going to keep them in this division lead for the majority of the season. That's where I expect them, the Tigers. They even had a Kenley Jansen in the back end of that bullpen too. So it's a potent rotation. I mean, the lineup is going to be the same. I think what it's really going to come down to with the Tigers is, I mean, you saw what happened in that 15-game stretch last year. Can they score enough runs on a game-by-game basis, right? They started off the year so hot, right? So hot.
Yeah, that stretch, they
forgot how to hit. They just forgot how to hit.
They had like a 10-game stretch where they scored like 5 runs.
Yeah.
It was outrageous.
Yeah. So, but that pitching is going to keep them in games all year. And again, I expect them to have the division lead for the majority of the year. And I don't see any reason why to not pick them to win the Central. I think it's going to be. I think the Guardians and the Royals are just going to be right on their heels, though, all year. I don't think those two teams are that far behind them. Right, in terms of what they can do from a pitching and hitting standpoint, the Royals. It's like it's weird to me that all that talent on the team and where they finished last year. I think they only won like 81 games last year, despite all that talent. So I mean, really, it comes down to what's their rotation going to do, what's their pitching situation going to be, because they have all the power and pop and contact hitters in that lineup. So the Royals are an interesting case to me. And, the White Sox are kind of a wild card because, like you said, a lot of young teams, a lot of young guys there. They did spend some money on the lineup this year. But, the White Sox are interesting. Like, it's one of those teams. It feels like it's going to be one of those teams that aren't going to be in the mix for the division, but it's going to be one of those teams that's going to be tough to play. Like, I feel like they're going to win like 70 games, but they're going to be like, oh, like the White Sox are just a thorn in their side, right? They're in every game. They're not getting blown out like they were the last 2 years. And then it's just going to be awful.
I don't think by any stretch the White Sox are the worst team in baseball anymore. No. So shout out to the White Sox for that. Yeah, for me, it's Tigers. And I think for the Tigers, people are going to hate this, but I think the most important thing they did this offseason isn't Framber Valdez. I think it's Justin Verlander. I don't expect him. I think Justin Verlander maybe wins him 10 games or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think you're bringing a guy in that really understands what it would mean to get over the hump in Detroit for the Tigers. And there's just going to be a motivation and a sense of urgency that guy is going to bring. A Hall of Famer is going to bring into that locker room that I think is just going to resonate. And so I think the Tigers are going to take first place this year. I got the Guardians in second place. I think it's an improved lineup. And I like the pitching depth especially if Cantillo and Messick can pitch well. I think the Royals and the Guardians are going to be very close in the standings. I think the White Sox maybe push for a 500 record, to be honest. And I think the Minnesota Twins are just going to be really, really bad. So that's all.
Terrible. So bad.
All right, let's just really quickly now, let's speed it up here and let's go around the other divisions. Let's go over to the AL East, where the defending champion Toronto Blue Jays, some changes. Obviously, the big one, Bo Bichette, no longer a member of the Toronto Blue Jays, but they still got George Springer, Dalton Varsho, Guerrero, a lot of good players there, plus Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, Eric Lauer, just a lot of good pitching there in Toronto.
Shout out Midview.
Well. Yep, shout out Midview. You've got what I think is maybe the most improved team, the Baltimore Orioles. You add Pete Alonso to Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and Taylor Ward, and they got Tyler O'Neill now, and I think that is a very good lineup, and I think it's better than it has been in a long time. Again, with the pitching, I'm not in love with Trevor Rogers or Kyle Bradish or I think they're okay. I think they're an okay rotation, but that lineup's going to be great. The Rays, Yandy Diaz, Junior Caminero, it makes you want to barf if you are a Guardians fan, because those are guys that should have stuck around here longer than they did, but they're going to be playing for the Rays. And their rotation, we'll just see if people get healthy. Shane McClanahan, maybe he's back after missing like 3 years of baseball. Drew Rasmussen, those guys. The Boston Red Sox did work. Roman Anthony is their stud young player. But Trevor Story, Jarren Duran, Wilson Contreras, I mean, they are a really good baseball team. And their pitching staff is outrageous. They add Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray to their lineup. And then you got the Yankees, and you got Judge and Bellinger and Stanton and Chisholm and Max Fried. And I don't know that I love this Yankees team a ton, but the AL East should be a battle out there. I don't know that this division, I think the Red Sox got better. I don't know that the rest of this division got a whole lot better.
No, I don't think they got a whole lot better, but I think this is going to be the tightest division in the AL, right? Because like you mentioned the Orioles, like that lineup is pretty awesome, but like that pitching depth, I'm not in love with, like you said, but it feels like a Baltimore game is going to be kind of must watch baseball anytime you watch TV, watch a game this year, because it feels like they're going to be winning games 10-8. Right? like 12-9. Like it's going to be a lot of offense in those games this year. The Red Sox, I think, are my leader in the clubhouse to take this division right now with the pitching that they've added, with the additions that they made to the lineup. And then the Yankees but the Yankees are in the Rays and the Blue Jays. They're going to be right there too, because those are all very good baseball teams, right? But the Red Sox, I think, kind of made a little bit of a leap, especially adding guys, the pitching depth like Ranger Suarez. So it's going to be, I don't know. I'm gonna say the Blue Jays are going to win the division again. No, check that. No, I think the Red Sox are going to win the division.
Did I even talk about this? I love the middle of the Blue Jays infield. We talked about ours in the Guardians. And for the Blue Jays, their middle infielder is Ernie Clement and Andres Jimenez.
Yeah, amazing. Right, amazing. Amazing. I would say the Red Sox are my leader in the clubhouse to win this division, but it's going to be a fun division to watch and the Rays, I mean, you can't not talk about the Rays. They're going to be right there. They always are, even the years they didn't, Caminero and Diaz, they're going to be right there because the Rays always do that. The Rays are the guardians of the AL East.
This is how I think it's going down. I think the Red Sox are going to win the division. I think the Orioles are going to come in second place and get a wild card spot. I think the Yankees are going to come in third place. I think the Blue Jays are coming in fourth place. And I think the Rays are coming in fifth place, and I think it's fairly distant. I agree with you. I know what the Rays typically do. I just don't know that there's the firepower there to keep up with everybody else.
But it feels like, but I guess here's what I mean by that, right? Like the Rays are going to be in last place in the division, but I feel like it's going to be like an 85 win baseball team. I don't think it's right. Like it's going to be crazy.
I don't think that about the Rays. I don't think they're going to be great this year, but I get what you're saying. God, man. The Cleveland Cavaliers were down by like 20. They came back. They had a great third quarter, came back and tied it 83-83 going into the fourth, and now they're getting their doors blown off in the fourth. They're down by 11 right now, so it's pissing me off. All right, AL West. Again, I think another interesting division, although for me, this one seems a little more cut and dry. But the AL West, we're talking about the Seattle Mariners, and we've already talked about the Guardians opening up with the Mariners out there in Seattle, and it's going to be a hell of a time. Going up against Cal Raleigh, coming off 60-plus homers, and Julio Rodriguez and Josh Naylor and Randy Arozarena, and just a rock-solid lineup, and I think one of the better starting rotations in baseball. The Seattle Mariners are going to be awesome. You've got the Houston Astros, and you can never sleep on them. You still got Carlos Correa goes back to the Astros, so you still got Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve and Christian Walker and Yainer Diaz, and there's just good players there. It is a work in progress on their rotation, but we'll see what they do there. I think the LA Angels are going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming to the end of a Mike Trout career that we're now starting to see people devalue Mike Trout, which is outrageous. We're starting to see people say like Mike Trout is the equivalent of like, I don't know, some like mid-level baseball player. And it's like people forget how great Mike Trout was. But Joe Adell's pretty good. They're not going to get much. They're not going to get a lot of wins. Their starting pitching staff is questionable. Then you got the A's. I love what the A's started last year, and I think they're going to be competitive this year. You add Max Muncy to the group. You've got Nick Kurtz, who was amazing.
I'll say arguably the most exciting young team in baseball.
Brent Rooker, Jacob Wilson. I mean, there's a lot to like there. Again,
Denzel Coles is electric. He's not a great hitter, but he's electric. He seems to make electric plays in center field all the time.
Yes. Denzel Clark. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yep. Their pitching staff, again, we'll see. If Luis Severino is your ace, and Aaron Savali is going to be out there.
Let's go.
But that lineup should be fun. And then you got the Rangers, who I don't love. They've kind of some of their players they kind of remind me a little bit of the White Sox in that, like, some of their players that were supposed to like come on and be great. Remember the White Sox when they were like, they signed all their young dudes before they even came up to big contracts because they were going to be great, and then they kind of weren't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that happened to the Rangers a little bit. There's some pop in the lineup. Corey Seager obviously is great, but I don't know. Jake Berger, Peterson, Josh Young, Brandon Nimmo, Wyatt Langford. I don't know if those guys are doing a whole lot for me. And then you've got an aging pitching staff, Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, those kind of guys. So I don't know. The West, to me, this one seems pretty easy for me, at least, Chad, to at least we may differentiate on who's 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, but it seems pretty easy to say these two teams are 1 and 2, these two teams are 3 and 4, this team is 5.
Yeah, the Astros and Mariners 1 and 2, A's and Rangers 3 and 4, and then the Angels are going to be last. That's it. That's
it, 100%. All right, so then we go to the National League, and again, just a lot of interesting things going down. You got the National League East, and you start with the Braves, and they should be really good.
Right.
There's injuries may cause them to not be good, but they should be really good, right? Acuna and Matt Olson and Austin Riley and Ozzie Albies and Kyle Farmer. Like, this team should score a ton of runs. And then you got Chris Sale and Reynaldo Lopez, and they should be really good. They should be really good, but you never know with them.
Yeah.
The Marlins, name me 4 players on the Marlins. Ready, go.
Edgar Renteria, Pudge Rodriguez.
Yes. Charles Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bobby Bonilla. And
Moises Alou.
Obviously, Moises Alou.
Dontrell Willis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dontrell Willis. Can't forget that guy. Oh, God. Who's that third baseman? Who's that white guy, third baseman?
Jeff.
Huh?
Oh, Jeff Conine?
Jeff Conine. That's
Hell
it.
Yeah. Yep.
Named your 4 players.
Where's Craig Counsell?
Yeah, there you go.
Anyways, that's who plays for the Mariners.
Yeah.
Or not the Mariners, the Marlins. The Mets add Bo Bichette. I mean, the top of the Mets lineup. Yes, they lose Pete Alonso, but Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Bo Bichette, Jorge Polanco. They added Luis Robert, Marcus Semien. This team should score 1 billion runs.
But do you trust him? I mean, how can you trust him after last year?
Well, and then you add Freddie Peralta. I don't trust him, but I also kind of do.
Everything on paper says they should just run away with this division. Everything on paper says they should.
Well, I don't know if run away with the division is. There's other good teams in this division, but
sure,
they should be really good. They should be really good. The Nats. Go ahead again. Name me 5 players on the Nationals. Go.
Ooh, okay, sure. Steven Strasburg,
yes.
Bryce Harper.
100%.
He still plays for them, right?
Yes, 1,000%.
Perfect.
He wears red.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yan Gomes.
I don't. I got nothing. I got nothing for the Nationals. I got nothing for them. The Phillies, though, then you talk about another team that should be really good, right? Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and Alec Boehm and Adolis Garcia. And I think the pitching staff, you got to wait for Zach Wheeler to come back. But once he's back and you're talking about him and Nola and Luzardo and Sanchez, like, they should be okay. Again, for me, it's a it's at most it's a 3-team race. It's the Marlins and Nats have no shot ever,
Right.
and you got 3 teams with a chance to win it.
Right. I don't know if I can pick a winner because they're all three are very good. The Braves, depending on how long that pitching staff is out, the injuries to the pitching staff is affecting them, might end up in third place. But if they can get healthy at the right times, I mean, I think baseball is such a marathon season. I think they can easily win this division just as much as the Mets or Phillies could.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to go with the Mets. I think there's a lot there, and I think maybe a guy like Pete Alonso going maybe like opens their eyes a little bit, like, oh shit, like we gotta like step it up. We're losing a guy like Pete Alonso, like we all gotta step our game up. I think it'll be a motivator for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it'll be I think the Mets will take the division. For some reason I just can't trust the Braves. I'm going to take the Phillies in second, the Braves in third, and then the Marlins and the Nationals in 7th place each.
Boom.
That's how I'm going to do it.
Boom.
All right, 2 more to go. NL Central, the Brewers.
This is a fun division too.
It's a very fun division, and it got much better.
Right.
Because you got the
Except
Brewers.
for the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Brewers, tons of good young talent. William Contreras, Christian Yelich still kind of leading things. Renifo, Jackson Churio, Bryce Turang, awesome. Jacob Mizorowski.
I love watching that guy pitch.
Oh my God, Chad Patrick. I mean, they're stacked.
Yeah.
You talked about the Cardinals. They're going to be in last place.
Yeah. Yep.
There's some decent players there, but nothing that gets me going.
Right. Nothing that says I'm going to overtake this team in the division.
And even their starting pitching, there's not a lot going on there. But the Cubs, they made some moves. Alex Bregman obviously comes in for them to play third base. They've kind of built their team around Pete Crow Armstrong, but Nico Horner, Ian Happ, really good there. And then again, for me, the rotation is weird. I mean, Matthew Boyd is going to be like their opening day starter.
Right.
But Matthew Boyd, Cade Horton, Edward Cabrera, Imanaga, I don't know if I think the rotation kind of stinks, but that lineup's going to score a lot of runs. Are the Cubs?
Yep.
Then you go to the team that I think most people are most excited. I think this team legitimately has a shot to win the division. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz, Spencer Horwitz, who spent 4 minutes on the Cleveland Guardians before we traded him for a guy that's going to go to jail. Brian Reynolds has been there and good for a long time, but then Marcelo Ozuna's there. Ryan O'Hearn's there.
Brandon Lowe.
Brandon Lowe's there. I mean, it's a team that's going to, I think, score some runs.
They spent some money this offseason. Well, their version of spending money.
Yeah, but getting Lowe, O'Hearn, and Ozuna makes them very fun.
Well, Ozuna's got legal troubles of his own, right? Is he not going to be?
I think he's there for opening day.
Is that a thing? Like with him? Like, because I know he's like.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a thing, but
he liked slapping around his wife a little too much.
It all centers around Paul Skeens, and if any of these other guys, Mitch Keller, or Bubba Chandler, any of these other guys can step up their game, I think the Pittsburgh Pirates have a shot at this division.
They do. Well, Bubba Chandler's was supposedly their next stud in the system, right behind Skeens, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you go to Cincinnati, and man, what an addition they made by bringing back Eugenio Suarez to go with Ellie De La Cruz and Spencer Steer and Tyler Stevenson and Matt McClain. And there's a lot of guys that can play pretty good baseball in that lineup. Key Brian Hayes, the former Pirate, is there now to play third base. And we know Key Brian Hayes can hit a ton of home runs. The scary thing for the Reds is Hunter Green going to the IL to start the year with right elbow issues. That is frightening. If that's going to be, he's your ace.
Right.
I think the rest of the rotation is okay at best. Andrew Abbott, I think it's pretty good. But some of the other guys I think are for me, if you have Hunter Green, the Reds are relatively scary. But I don't know. How do you see this division going?
This is tough. I think it is. It's such a tough one to pick. I think I think 1, 2, 3 are going to be. I mean, well, we already said the Cardinals are going to be in last, which they are.
Yes.
I'm. You know what? You know what? Give me. God. Okay.
Cubs, I know what you want to say, which is why you're having such a hard time saying.
I want to give it to the Pirates so bad. I do. I want to give it to the Pirates, but I just, I love the additions that they made. But is that going to be good enough? Like, are they going to score enough run? Like, fuck it. Pirates, Cubs, Brewers, Reds, Cardinals.
I think the Brewers are going to win the division.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think the Cubs are going to be a little disappointing. I think that starting rotation is ugh. And I don't know. I don't know that I think Alex Bregman is going to make that big of a difference in the Cubs lineup. So I think it's going to be Milwaukee, Pittsburgh.
Let's go.
I think those Pirates additions are going to make a difference. And I'm buying the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Let's go.
I think they're going to be fun this year.
Apparently, Livy Dunn played a huge part in getting these free agents here, so that's a good way to convince.
Yeah.
If you sent Livy Dunn to me on a free agent visit, I'd be like, wow, yeah, okay, yeah.
You want me to sign here for $5? Sure.
Done.
I think it's going to be Brewers, Pirates, Cubs, Reds, and I think the Cubs and Reds are going to be close. If the Reds can get healthy, I think I think we're selling them a little bit short.
Those 4 teams are going to be so fun, like to watch how that division plays out.
I think those 4 teams. I mean, I think that division could legitimately have 4 teams finish within like 5 games of one another.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm going to say, Brewers, Pirates, Cubs, Reds, and again, I think they're all going to be close. And then the Cardinals are going to be not close. That will take us then to the NL West. And so the Dodgers, are we good with that?
Yes. God, fuck's sake. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I got nothing.
That's just the Dodgers are going to win.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know the biggest move that the Padres made was what? Ramon Laureano? Or I don't know.
It doesn't really matter, honestly.
Mickey Moniak plays for the Rockies. That's a thing. That's a guy.
Cool.
That plays there.
Cool.
I'm just trying to think of
there's no scenario in my mind where anybody beats the Dodgers for this division.
Matt Chapman and Rafael Devers and Willie Adames and Luis Arias. I think the Giants could be kind of fun.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they were in a battle up until like the last 2 weeks of the season. So.
But the Dodgers lineup: Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Andy Pajes, and Miguel Rojas.
Can't wait for the lockout.
And then Yamamoto, Sheehan, Glasnow, Sasaki, and Ohtani is going to be the. I mean, it's just. Again, I am rooting for the Dodgers to win the World Series. I hope they do it. And I hope they win 127 games. And I hope they steamroll their way to a World Series. This shit is out of line. It is out of line. Yes. It is out of line.
Right.
Could the Diamondbacks be fun? Yeah, heck yeah. Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll,
sure.
Domo, Arenado's there now. They signed Nolan Arenado. Carlos Santana's going to be a guy there. Zach Gallen's a great pitcher. I see this in the comments. Like Chris says, Arizona's going to be tough. They're going to be tough. They're just going to get dog walked by the Dodgers.
Yeah, there's no
19 times.
There's no. I mean, there's some fun teams, but there's not as far as division goes. There's just not going to be.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun.
No.
So, having said that, Chad. So we were fairly consensus on how we think it's going to go. I think you picked the Pirates. I picked the Brewers. We both picked the Tigers. You picked the we both picked the Red Sox. We both picked the Red Sox. So we were pretty good there. And then the Dodgers, You picked the Pirates. I picked the Brewers. And who'd you pick in the NL East? I don't remember. I picked the Mets.
I think I picked the Mets too. I don't know if I gave one, but yeah, the Mets.
Yeah. So pretty consensus. But again, baseball season's here. And I think our Cleveland Guardians are going to have a shot at the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division, but they're going to have a real shot at a wild card. And I think it's going to be a fun season at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario, and it starts tomorrow in Seattle. All right, Chad, let's get to our asshole of the week, where we talk about somebody that's an asshole. I'll lead us off for this one.
Okay.
I am going to talk about how I don't think I am an asshole for this per se. But I'm going to talk about one of the times where I have felt most like an asshole in my life.
Okay.
And I don't mean an asshole in terms of I wasn't like a jerk to anybody. I didn't do anything mean or bad to anybody. However, and this is a very personal story, but Chad, you know it. Back in November, my wife and I decided we want no more kids. We got 2. That's all we need. So I, like a good husband, said, yeah, I'll go get the procedure.
You'll go get
done.
snipped.
I'll go get the V word done, and we'll be done with it. And that way we can just be done even thinking about it. And so I did. And it was super easy, by the way. It was super easy. The recovery was a piece of cake. Everything was fine. But then you have to wait 3 months, and you have to go for an analysis to make sure it worked.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of the weirdest freaking things I've ever done.
Isn't it?
It was, I have to go. So I did this on Monday. I had to go to the Cleveland Clinic out here in Avon. So I had to go to a hospital, and I had to look a nurse directly in the face and be like, I'm here for my analysis, which is fine. I'm good with like medical things, and they understand it's medical things. But at the same time, I have to sit in this weird room in the hospital and like knock one out. And that part is weird. It was so weird.
Yeah, of course. You hear people just like
yes,
talking in the hallway.
Yes. And it's a room that's like collection room or
like
whatever.
A jail cell. It basically feels like a jail cell.
It's like in use. They put a thing in use. So like everybody knows what's happening in that room.
Yeah.
I was also kind of grossed out because they had like just one of their like normal chairs in there. And I'm like, how many dudes have gone just straight ass to this chair? Like, oh God. Anyway, but you got to do it. You got to do it. So I figured out it was I'm so glad that there's no like cameras or anything, because it could have been like the X-rated version of America's Funniest Videos, the whole situation. Absolutely hysterical. But here's where I like it just demoralized me and made me feel like just feelings I didn't realize I was going to have. Then you got to like put the cup in a little paper bag.
Yeah.
And walk it down. You have to come out of that room where there's people there.
Yeah.
And you have to walk it down the hallway, and you got to hand it right back to that nurse that you were just talking to. And I got to tell you, it was a very weird feeling for me to be like,
yep.
You know what I just did. Like,
right.
you know what I just did.
Right.
And so it was very much like well, here you go.
Bye.
It was so weird. It was so weird, and it made me feel like an asshole. So I'm just going to be my own asshole of the week. That was my story of the week.
Like I remember poking my head out in the hallway, being like, "Is anybody okay? Can I just drop this off at the counter?" Like,
yeah, right. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
God, what is that in the drawer? Is that the chick from Eliminate? That's weird.
However, yes. Anyways, about an hour later, I got the results, and I am having no more kids. So,
attaboy.
Awesome. Anyway, Chad, your asshole of the week.
Well, I've got 2 of them. First is Jalen Fielding for making a 57-yard field goal at the Ohio State's Pro Day. It'd be cool if you would have made field goals. Season fucking dick. And my other one is this quadruple amputee in Maryland.
Yes. Maryland or Florida?
Maryland. It was Florida. Like it was a Florida headline, but out of Maryland for shooting and killing a guy while driving a car. I mean, I guess this can be my cheers of the week because I have so many questions because this guy is a murderer, a piece of shit, and an inspiration for all quadruple amputees all at the same time.
And also one of the best cornhole players on the planet.
Yeah. It's so fucking weird.
So weird.
It's so weird.
This guy doesn't have arms or legs. Unbelievably, he's amazing at cornhole, and he murdered a dude.
No prosthetics either. In case anyone's wondering, no prosthetics. This guy used his nubs to load a gun while driving a car and go, I'm gonna kill you.
Murder.
I'm I'm so fascinated by this story. I have to know how it played out. I have to know how this played out, Mike. Okay?
Murder.
Because if you're in that car and this little asshole's like fumbling around with a gun trying to shoot you, like
little asshole.
How do you not know that? Like,
oh my God.
He's trying to do? How do you not like? Did you even try to live? And he's like, no, you just stay right there. You just stay right there. I'm gonna murder you. I'm gonna murder you if I get a hold of this gun here. Like what? Like he had to have that gun at the ready, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like he's reaching into the glove compartment to get it out.
No. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, those are our assholes.
Did they handcuff him or did they lasso him?
Stop it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The 911 call. That had to be the best 911 call.
You like 911, knock it off.
911, what's your emergency? I don't know if you're going to believe me or not, but there's a guy, sir. Calling in a prank 911 calls against the law.
Did you just say? Did they lasso him?
Well, yeah, they can't handcuff him. It's like the dude from Monty Python, the Knight. Come here, I'll bite your legs off.
I don't know how to handle this. All right, those are our assholes of the week. Oh my God. Let's dive into just some. We'll do like quick hitters, but they're fun quick hitters. Let's dive into March Madness because we are officially at the Sweet 16. So let me just give you the breakdown of where we're at, and then we'll talk about how we got here. So, and let's go kind of side of the bracket by side of the bracket. So let's start in the East. And so the 4 teams representing the East are the 1, 2, 3, and 5 seeds. The Duke Blue Devils have made their way to the Sweet 16 by defeating barely Siena, a game they were losing most of the way, but in true Duke fashion, almost losing to a 16th. What?
I don't know how he could kill a guy when he was unarmed.
You better stop. You have to stop us. Drew. Drew wants to know how he dumped the body.
Apparently. Oh, here, that's another part.
It was just the body.
That's another part. Apparently, there were 2 other guys in the car when he shot him. And he was like, he asked them to help him dump the body. And they were like, nope. Like, we're getting out of the car. So he had to dump it himself.
Jesus Christ. All right. Can we talk about basketball now?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to focus.
Yes, you are.
All right.
Lock it in.
All right.
In the East, Duke gets to the Sweet 16 by barely beating Siena, but then the most predictable outcome of all time. When Duke barely beats a team in the first round, they're going to slaughter a team in the second round, and that's what they did to TCU. So it's Duke, and then they're going to play St. John's. They slaughtered Northern Iowa in the first round, and then they won a really good game against Kansas. They forced Bill Self to retire. So St. John's on their way to play Duke, the 1-5 matchup, and then the 2-3 matchup. Michigan State has been really good so far. They slaughtered North Dakota State, and then they beat the tar out of they didn't beat the tar of them, but they had a pretty good win against Louisville. And UConn, they beat Furman, and then, UCLA looked like they had them on the ropes, and then UConn in that second half of that game just absolutely cruised to a victory. So, Chad, Duke versus St. John's, Michigan State, UConn. Did anything else fun happen on this side of the bracket? Not really. We loved South Florida. They got beat early by Louisville. But otherwise, nothing else really fun happened in this, except for the fact that not really fun. But shout out to Ohio State for being the first team to lose in the bracket. They went out and lost to that TCU team. It was a close game, but they just lost. So what do you think of that last four in the East?
TCU hung tough for a half, and then Duke just pulled away in the second half. I want to take St. John's so badly, but they just don't score enough. They're not good enough offensively for me to pick them over Duke. But I do love the way they do play defense. And then who's it? Michigan State and UConn.
Yeah, I love that matchup.
I really do too, because UConn's kind of the same way. That their defense is just absolutely locked down, like shut down defense.
Yep.
But I don't know if they can score enough. That's going to be interesting to me. It all depends on what type of Michigan State team shows up, right? I mean, because
Michigan State can. They put them 92 in the first round.
Yeah.
So they can score. That's one of the highest scores of the first round in the whole tournament.
Yeah, Tom Izzo doesn't make it seems like the Sweet 16 is where Tom Izzo has kind of flailed out over the last bunch of years. So we'll see if he'll bring a good game plan together. But I mean, all of these Sweet 16 matchups are just going to be electric, and I'm excited to watch them.
All right, so updated predictions. Duke, St. John's, go.
Duke.
Michigan State, UConn, go.
I'm going to take Michigan State. So you're
going to have Duke versus Michigan State in the Elite Eight. Who goes to the Final Four?
Duke.
You got Duke going to the Final Four out of the East. I'm going to take St. John's over Duke.
Wow.
I'm taking them. I think they can score enough to beat Duke. And actually, I think Duke has moments where they don't look like they can score enough. So I'm taking St. John's, and I'm taking Michigan State, and I'm taking St. John's to go to the Final Four. Something about this team with Rick Pitino, I really like him. So I'm taking St. John's.
Fair enough.
All right, let's go to the South. And our Final Four is surprising. The 2, 3, and 4 seeds are all here. Houston, the 2 seed, routed Idaho, and then routed Texas A&M as predicted. So they have been on fire. The 3 seed, Illinois, routed Penn and then routed VCU. So those two teams, I think if I'm looking correctly, the Illinois 21-point victory over VCU is the closest game any of the teams have played in either round. So those two teams are on a collision course. If you'll remember, kind of by accident, we picked Illinois to win the national championship last week. So the 4 seed, Nebraska, they routed Troy, and then they won one of the better games of the whole tournament was Nebraska-Vanderbilt. Really entertaining game, but Nebraska came through and beat Vanderbilt. Nebraska into the Sweet 16, not traditionally that basketball school. And speaking of a team that made just all kinds of waves, the 1 seed leaves the only 1 seed out so far, Florida, after destroying Prairie View A&M. They get matched up against Iowa that had a tough matchup against Clemson in the first round, and Iowa comes out and beats Florida 73-72 in really the upset. That really is the upset. And even forgetting about some of the 12-5s or whatever, that's the upset of the tournament so far. Iowa taking down Florida, so it's going to be a Big Ten matchup, Iowa-Nebraska. We've got Illinois, Houston, Iowa-Nebraska. Chad, how's it going to go?
That first things first, though. That Vandy last-second shot couldn't have been more it was the most missed buzzer beater I've ever seen in my life. Yes. They're going to need security, increased security here at this Nebraska and Iowa game, because these are two rivals that hate each other. Two fan bases that absolutely hate each other. It's going to be amazing. So I actually love that these two teams are playing in the Sweet 16. And then Illinois and Houston is going to be awesome too, because Illinois is I think I read something where Illinois is the best charted offense in college basketball for the last, I don't know how many years. And then with the way Houston plays defense, it's going to be such an interesting matchup to me. But if you're asking me, I think Fred Hoiberg is going to outcoach the guy who argued with the Florida coach from Iowa, and I think Nebraska is going to move on. And man, I think that Illinois is eventually going to assert their will over Houston. But even though I love Houston, I mean, this is a tough match. I mean, it's a coin flip matchup for me, but I'm taking Illinois just because I love that offense.
And listen, you talked about Houston's defense. They're giving up only 52 points a game in the tournament. They gave up 47 to Idaho and 57 to Texas A&M. So that defense has been on a roll. I'm with you. I love the Illinois offense as well. However, I think there is a physical presence, even offensively, with Houston that I just don't think Illinois is going to be ready for. So I'm going to take Houston to beat Illinois, and I'm going to take Nebraska to beat Iowa. I don't know whether the little bit of the few days off after an emotional win for Iowa is a good thing or a bad thing, but I think Nebraska will take them out, and I think Houston's going to come out of this and go to the Final Four. I can't remember. You said Nebraska and Illinois. So who do you have against? Who do you have going there?
Illinois. 1,000%.
So you got Illinois coming out. I've got Houston coming out. So really, the winner of that game is going to be who we think comes out.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to the Midwest. So again, just to keep you filled in, I've got St. John's. You've got Duke out of the East. I've got Houston. You've got Illinois coming out of the South. Go over to the Midwest, where the 1 seed has been rolling. Michigan is scoring a lot of points, man.
Right.
101 against Howard, 95 against St. Louis. So it's the 1 seed. And actually, remaining here, it's the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 6 seed, which we were so wrong about again. But Michigan has steamrolled both Howard and St. Louis, and then making their way to the Sweet 16 is Alabama, as they've scored 90 in each of their 2 games. They beat Hofstra 90-70, and then they really dominated Texas Tech 90-65. They destroyed Texas Tech all the way through. So it'll be Michigan versus Alabama, which I think is going to be a really good game. And then you've got Tennessee, who routed Miami of Ohio. Shout out to the Red Hawks for a great season. And then Tennessee came out and I think looked really good against Virginia. The Cavaliers, Virginia just does what they do. Outside of 1 year in the tournament, they just lose. And then you've got Iowa State coming out of the bottom part. They beat Tennessee State 108-74, and then Kentucky 82-63. If you're asking me which teams have looked the most impressive of the tournament, you've got to put Iowa State in that conversation. So we'll talk about what happened in the first round because this is the most fun one to talk about. But talk about those matchups: Michigan, Alabama, and Tennessee, Iowa State.
First off, that Kentucky St. France.
I said, wait. We're going to come back to it. Wait.
Shut your mouth when you're talking to me. All right. What did you say? I wasn't paying attention to you.
Michigan, Alabama, Iowa State, Tennessee.
Listen, if Alabama is first off, I think Michigan's going to win the game. But if Alabama, if their threes are knocking, or if they're knocking down their threes, they have a chance to beat anybody in the country. So, but still give me Michigan in that game. But we'll wait to see, because if Alabama's knocking down shots, Michigan's in trouble. Iowa State and Tennessee. Iowa State's going to win that game. They've had a dominant tournament so far. Tennessee doesn't do anything that like super impresses me, so I think Iowa State's going to win that game. And then I'm going to put. Actually, I don't know. I might put Iowa State in the Final Four because I just can't, in good conscience, pick Michigan.
Well, so then you and I are going to do the same thing, because I'm going to put Michigan. I just think they're gonna. I think they're going to run over Alabama. I think Iowa State, Tennessee is not even going to be close, to be honest.
Right.
I just don't think so, and I'm never going to pick Michigan for any reason. So I'm going to take Iowa State.
Right.
But the first round. So we decided to both pick Akron.
Beautiful. I'm upset I don't get to watch High Point play basketball anymore, though.
Texas Tech slaughtered Akron.
Yeah.
And then we picked Miami to beat Tennessee, and Tennessee slaughtered Miami. So the MAC schools went out with a whimper. But we got to talk about that Kentucky-Santa Clara game. That end of regulations, one of the greatest end of regulations I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Tie game. Like 11 seconds left. Santa Clara comes down, and as the announcers are like, oh, no, don't do that, to whatever Santa Clara was doing, they find a wide open guy who hits a three-pointer with like 4 seconds left. to give Santa Clara a 3-point lead, and Kentucky just quickly inbounds it, brings it across midcourt, and just fires a shot from just inside the half-court line, and they bank it in to force overtime. That game, that Kentucky-Santa Clara game was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's the game of the tournament, and I think it will be the game of the tournament. I can't imagine another team or another game is going to have a finish the way that one finished.
No, absolutely not. It was the most exciting part of it. I mean, the only thing that was even remotely second to it was High Point in Wisconsin. And that's
we're getting there.
It's tournament, baby.
We're getting there.
The tournament. I love it so much. I hate college basketball regular season, but I love the tournament so much.
All right, so we both got Iowa State coming out, and if we go to the West, Arizona, easy so far for Arizona. Steamrolled Long Island, 12-point victory for Utah State, but Arizona, the 1 seed, has made it look easy. And again, here in the West, we've got the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 11 seed, because why do we have to do this? But Arizona's made it look easy. Arkansas made it look easy round 1. Then that Arkansas High Point game was one of the better games. And actually, Chad, I think you kind of called it. I picked High Point because I believed in them. I knew how good High Point was. And I thought High Point could take out Arkansas, but Arkansas just has that one player that can take them over the edge, and he certainly did in that game against High Point. That's one of the games of the tournament, though. Arkansas, high-powered offense. High Point, high-powered offense, just trading shots and buckets. It was a blast to watch, but Arkansas makes their way through to the Sweet 16, so it'll be Arizona, Arkansas. You go down to the bottom side of the bracket. Purdue has looked really good. 2 double-digit victories against Queens. Shout out to Queens for making it, but sorry about your luck against Purdue. And then Miami dominated Missouri, and then they came out and Purdue just took them to school. And then you get fucking Texas, who, again, BYU, I think BYU kind of handed Texas that game. And then I think Gonzaga Gonzaga's that team now that just gets rated like a 2, 3, or 4 seed, even if they kind of suck. And
they had a lot of injuries too to a lot of guys.
They did, but I don't think this is nearly one of the better Gonzaga teams. And Texas proved it. So the 11 seed, Texas, won a play-in game, and they are making their way to the Sweet 16 to take on Purdue. So again, it's going to be Arizona versus Arkansas, Texas versus Purdue. Chad.
So the best player of the tournament, not the best team, but the best player of the tournament so far has been Darius Acuff. Yeah. The guy is he can just take over a game at any point. I mean, he's one of those guys that any time the ball's in his hands, a play is going to be made. But I still think Arizona wins that game because Arkansas struggles a lot defensively sometimes. But I think Arizona, and like I said, I think Arizona is the most balanced team in this tournament. So I think Arizona is going to win. Purdue is playing great basketball right now, and I'm taking Purdue over Texas. And then I'm taking Arizona to go to the Final Four.
You and I have got the same thing happening here too. So we both took Iowa State at the bottom. We're both taking Arizona here. But I do think the Arkansas game is going to be fun. But I agree with you. I think Arizona is just all around really good. I do think it will not surprise me if Arkansas wins this game.
No,
to me, this is more of a coin flip than just Arizona's going to win. That's how I feel about this game. I think Purdue's going to slaughter Texas.
Yeah.
And then if it's Arizona-Purdue, I think that'll be a really good game as well. But I think Arizona, just the balance of them. Honestly, I think the winner of Arizona-Arkansas is going to go to the Final Four.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'll take Arizona, though. So our Final Four now is going to look a little different. So, Chad, I want to hear what you think now. We're going to go all the way through. You've got Duke. You've got Illinois. Mm-hmm. You've got Iowa State. And you've got Arizona. So talk to me about your Final Four. Duke versus Illinois.
Well, I think Illinois, their combination of size and speed is going to beat Duke. Right? I mean, if Duke can't find consistent scoring in a game like that, Illinois is going to eat them alive, and I think Illinois is going to win. Arizona and Iowa State. Again, I just got to go with the balance of Arizona. So I think Arizona is going to beat Iowa State. It's going to be, obviously, it's Iowa State's, well, that's not going to be their toughest test because they got Michigan. But I think Arizona wins that game, and Arizona, Illinois in the championship.
And who wins it? Who's your champion now?
Arizona.
Are you going to keep it with Illinois, or are you changing it?
No. You know what? I said it back then. I'm going to keep it now. Illinois. Let's go.
Oh, man. All right, I got St. John's versus Houston. And I love this because it's two physical powerhouse kind of defensive squads. I think Houston's just too much for St. John's. And so I'm going to take Houston over St. John's. And then I've got Iowa State versus Arizona. And I'm with you. I think Arizona is just all around too good. I think Iowa State's a little bit like that too, but I think Arizona's better. So I've got Arizona versus Houston in the championship game, and I think Arizona's going to win the championship. I'll take the Wildcats for the title at this point. So I'm going to change mine. So that is where we're at with March Madness. The fun thing about March Madness is we do a weekly show. And so we get 2 rounds, then we get to talk about it. 2 rounds, then we get to talk about it. And then the last 2 rounds, and we get to talk about it. So we'll see where we're at, because some of those games are going to go absolutely haywire like they do in March Madness. Even though I think, Chad, to be honest, if I was ranking this March Madness, I think it's been one of the more boring March Madnesses. There's been some, there's been some good. We talked about the Santa Clara and Kentucky game. We've talked about Iowa and Florida. There's been some fun stuff, but I think overall it's been relatively snoozy.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of double-digit victories so far.
Right.
All right. Real quick hitters regarding our sports. Let's talk about the Browns real fast. Word came out at about 6:30 this afternoon that the Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett have agreed to restructure his contract. What does that mean? Well, normally when you hear about restructuring, you're talking about creating cap space, all that stuff. This does none of that. So it creates no cap space for the Browns. And frankly, it really does nothing for Myles Garrett. Like, nothing happens on his side. The only thing that happens here, what the Browns and Myles Garrett agreed to do, is they move back his his option date from March to September. Which basically means, and Jack Duffin wrote a great post on it. He said, if Myles Garrett wasn't if they didn't trade him by the end of this week, they were guaranteed to not trade him. Well, now it changes, because now he's not really owed any bonuses or anything until September. So if they were to trade Myles Garrett, the cap hit will be significantly lower between now and September. Now, again, if they get to like 1 week before the season and they haven't traded him, then they're going to sign him to, they're going to pick up the option information, and then his contract will go up and all that. But Chad, people are going kind of crazy about this because people don't know. Like, does this signify that they're going to try to trade him? Like, how do you feel about it? Again, it doesn't do anything for the Browns on a salary cap position. It doesn't give them more cap space. It doesn't do anything for Myles Garrett. It just literally, the only thing this move does is extend the window where he could be traded where it would make sense.
Listen, I want to preface this by saying I don't want to trade Myles. I never want to trade Myles. I want him to retire a Brown. I want him to go down as, it will be, the greatest Browns edge rusher to ever play for the Browns.
Already is, yeah.
And top 5 defensive end, at least, bare minimum of all time already. He's already in that conversation.
Yes.
With that being said, if you're going to trade him, I feel like sooner rather than later would be the time to do it. Because realistically, what he's got 4 years left on this contract, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So realistically, at the end of this contract, there's a good chance that he's not going to be prime Myles Garrett anymore, right? He's 30 years old, right? He's going to be 34 by the time this contract ends. So if you're going to trade him, sooner rather than later would be the time to do it, because that's when you're going to maximize his value.
Okay, so what would it take for you to trade Myles Garrett?
The conversation starts at 3 firsts. I mean, if you're looking at Max Crosby, who just, I know that the Ravens backed out of it, but if you're looking at Max Crosby, who went for 2 firsts, right, or a first, a third, and a fourth, whatever the Cowboys offered, Myles is head and shoulders above Max Crosby. Max Crosby is a great defensive end.
I love Max Crosby.
Yeah, but Myles is head and shoulders above Max. So the conversation for me starts at 3 firsts.
I think it does, but I think I need more than that.
No, I know. It starts. That's what I'm saying. It starts there.
I know. Here's where I struggle.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on my last show. Let's talk about the teams that are going to be willing to trade 3 firsts for Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first team that comes to mind for me is the Rams.
Sure.
Okay, so you trade Myles Garrett to the Rams for 3 firsts. Their next 3 firsts are going to be pick 30, pick 32, pick 28. What is that doing for me? What you're saying they're first, but they're borderline first, second round picks. Maybe the Lions would do it. You're doing borderline second round picks. What is that doing for me? Like, what is that? I just don't. I hate this thing in the NFL where you just live for the future. And we do it a bit with the OBR, and it's where we have disagreements. But it just feels to me like I need more than that. I need impact, and I need it now.
Sure.
If I'm trading Myles Garrett, because yes, are we going to eventually get to the decline of Myles Garrett? Sure. But is it coming soon? I don't know. Dude's a freak. And have we seen edge rush? Like, am I watching Khalil Mack still be an impact edge rusher? Yes, I am. Like, do I think Myles Garrett's better than Khalil Mack? Yes. Do I think he's in better shape? Yes. Do I think Myles Garrett can do this for another 10 years? Maybe not at this level, maybe not at sack record level, but yes, I do. Like, it's going to take more than this. It's going to take more.
Sure. You know, I mean, I think when you talk about a team like the Rams, Mike, I think something a factor that's not being put in here is Matt Stafford. Like, is Matt Stafford going to hang around for more than the next 3 years? Maybe not. Right. So there's a good potential that pick could be a little more towards the middle of the draft.
In what, 3 years?
Well, no. Could be. He could. I mean, Stafford to me is on a year-to-year basis now. So I mean, he could retire after this year. But I mean, more. But sure, yeah, yeah, absolutely. You should get more than 3 firsts. But that's where the conversation starts.
We got to get away from quarterbacks because no smart team would trade their starting quarterback for a defensive end. Like, no. It's even if he's the best defensive player in football, that is stupid. I had somebody on the last one say, "What, like Justin Herbert?" No, what? They would not do that. I need a move. I need one of those, like when Mike Dick had traded his entire draft for Ricky Williams, but like even more than that kind of a move.
Sure.
And I want it now.
Sure.
I want it now. I don't give a shit about 2027, to be honest with you.
Sure.
This is the thing that's killing me. Everybody. Oh, you want your picks in 27. You want your picks in 27. Get your picks in 27. You want these players. Oh, my God, the quarterback's in 27. It's the same damn thing that we were doing for 26 when we were in 25. Oh, my God, the Browns are going to have 2 first-round picks next year. And we're going to have Cade Klubnik, and Garrett Nussmeier, and Drew Aller, and Lenora Sellers. And nobody said a damn word about anybody. You have no idea what's going to happen next year. You have no idea that Manning is going to be as good as you think he is anyways, or if he's going to blow out his knee. You have no idea what's going to happen to Dante Moore. You have no idea. I want things now. Give me the shit now. And so that for me, like there has to be some kind of baseline to this. But to me, I don't think me and Jack disagreed on this a little bit. Jack thinks that it's more likely than not that the Browns trade Myles Garrett this offseason. I do not think that. I think it's more likely than not that Myles Garrett stays with the Browns this offseason, but I do think that this new contract, because this carries over to next year and the year after and the year after, I think this opens the door for, if the Browns suck again this year and Myles Garrett's like, fucking get me out of here, I think it opens up the door for them to be able to do it next year.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I mean, whenever they do it, like I said, sooner rather than later. So whether that's this offseason or into next season, like, sure, sooner rather than the sooner the better, because it's just going to decline from now. His value is just going to decline from now.
But I feel like you have to like walk that fine line of like, yes, his value is just going to decline from now, but like his value is what it is for a reason.
Right.
And you're getting it now. So you have to like, do we want to just not have Myles Garrett? No, of course not.
No.
We want to have Myles Garrett on our team. So
no.
like,
but you don't want this contract to run out because he's not going to sign here. There's no reason for. I guess unless we get our quarterback and like we turn things around magically in the next 3 years, which hopefully that happens.
I just think there's certain guys that you just don't give a shit about whether he signs here or not after he's 34 years old. I don't care. I'd rather, me personally, I'd rather have Myles Garrett just sit and play here until he's 34 years old. And if he wants to go sign somewhere else to chase a ring or something at 34 because the Browns are probably still going to suck then, that's fine. But like, it's going to take everything to pry him away. And that's,
sure.
I hope that's Andrew Berry's conviction in this, is that yes, we're gonna restructure this because it gives us. Everybody thinks this gives Myles more. This gives Myles nothing. This gives the Browns all the flexibility in the world to do what they might want to do. I just hope that Andrew Berry holds to conviction to say, if we're going to trade him, you're going to need to give us something that nobody has ever given anybody else. Like that's what this deal is going to have to look like.
Well, yeah, I mean, Andrew's not a dum-dum, right? He's not a dum-dum. So, I mean, if he's going to make this trade, yes, obviously it's going to be in the unprecedented type of deal. So, yeah, I don't know that I worry so much about that. And now, if it doesn't turn out that way, oh boy, we're going to have issues. But
right.
it's pretty plain as day that's the type of deal it's going to take.
We'll see. I think people are getting real worked up about it. In my opinion, I think this is more of a next year thing than a this year thing. But we'll see. You also just never know when a team's going to come in and just be like, yeah, we'll give you everything you want. And then some for this. And then you got to pull the trigger. If you hold to your convictions and then some team says, we're going to give you everything you want and then some, cool.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, Chad. Couple more quick hitters. Let's talk about the second place in the Metro Division.
Yeah.
Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Because, oh baby.
Yeah. Let's go.
They are not playing their best hockey right now.
Nope.
They're not. That loss to the Islanders sucked.
Yeah.
And you were far kinder to them than I would have been, because they didn't play well in that game. They did not come out with the intensity that you would have expected them to come out in that kind of a game with like 10 games left on the season.
Sure.
And it wasn't like the Islanders just played their best game. And it wasn't like the Islanders goalie was never tested in that game. Like, I saw a few reviews that were like, oh, the Islanders goalie just stood on his head. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't have to really do much. Just didn't have to do much. And I was infuriated after that game because, again, now you've lost the Islanders. After the Olympic break, you've now lost to the Islanders twice, and they're a direct team you are competing with. And you've played poorly in both of those games. And you lost to the Bruins, which you are a team competing with them. And it's like you're losing to these teams you're directly competing with. But then you bounce back and you get a great victory yesterday against the Flyers, which another team you're competing with. The Flyers are kind of in the mix still. Another team you're competing with, and you get that victory, and the Penguins sputter a little bit, and all of a sudden, Chad, the Columbus Blue Jackets find themselves in second place in the division. If the season ended today, the Columbus Blue Jackets would host a playoff series.
Yeah, it's crazy. They would host the Penguins.
Think about that from where they came from.
For sure.
Where they came from before Bonus took over, where they were way on the outside.
Yep.
They'd be hosting a playoff series. Now, for me, Chad, I just hope we don't run into a situation like last year. If you'll remember, the Jackets made a run to where they were top 3 in their division last year. Towards the back part of the season, and then they kind of collapsed at the end of the year. So I hope they don't do that, but man, what a run it's been for them.
Yeah, what a run it's been for them. And listen, that first Islanders game, it wasn't a matter of playing bad. Like the Islanders just got a bunch of lucky bounces, but it's ugly whenever you do play the Islanders. That's what they want. They want to get in the mud with you. Okay, I mean, it's the Jackets didn't play their best game. No, they did not. But Sorokin still made 23 saves in that game. So he. I mean, Jet made 19 saves last night, or 23 saves last night. So,
Sorokin made 22 saves that I could have made in that game.
No, you couldn't have. No, you couldn't have. But yeah, so I mean, it's just the kind of team that they are. They'll eat you alive defensively, and they want to beat you with incredible goaltending, and that's exactly what they've had the last bunch of years. I guess why I wasn't so worried about it is because I have this confidence, whether unwarranted or not. I have this confidence in the way this team has been playing under Bones that they were going to bounce back, and they did. They did last night against the Flyers. So this team, I was having this conversation earlier. This team is the most playoff-ready Blue Jacket team, I think, in the team's history. Even outside of the Jackets, other playoff teams that they've had, because no other team has been as suffocating, has had the capability to be as suffocating as the Jackets can be defensively, right? And no Jacket team has been this deep. Because this Jackets team is 4 lines deep offensively. They can get contributions from everywhere on a nightly basis. It's not like this isn't like a one line is doing is doing all the scoring here. This other line is contributing the next. No, this team is 4 lines deep, and it's again that combined with the capability to be suffocating on defense. And then Jet, his last 5 starts, Jet has been on the money. Elvis has been okay too. He's been pretty good, but Jet has been on the money as well. This is the best all around Jackets playoff ready Jackets team, I think, in team history. And the fact that they're playing this way, and granted, there's a bunch of other teams in the East that are playing well too, like Ottawa is right on the heels of the Jackets as well. But the fact that they're playing this way, and with the East being as wide open as it is this year, there's no better year for the Jackets to get into the playoffs than this. Still a lot of work to be done. Still got 10 games left against, and a bunch of them are against teams that are you're fighting for spots for. But I just have this confidence in this team that they're not going to let this thing slip away from them.
Chad, can I ask you a fun question?
Sure.
Let's say the Jackets make it into the playoffs.
Okay. Which
hopefully they do.
Okay.
Again, they've got. Let me look here. Let me get my stuff together. Jackets are second place in the division. They've got 11 games left.
Right.
Lot can happen because, again, from a conference perspective, not a lot separates them from being second place in their own division to not in the playoffs.
Right.
You talk about being wide open. But when you think about the playoffs and you think about how this could all go down, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Again, the Jackets have 87 points. Pittsburgh has 86. Boston has 88 in the wild card. Ottawa has 85. Islanders 85. Detroit 84. Philly 80. That's why yesterday's game was huge. Washington 79. Like, that's all within 8 points of the Jackets.
Right.
But if they get into the postseason, no matter where it is, and you think about this Eastern Conference, Buffalo, Tampa, Montreal, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Boston, Ottawa, Islanders, Detroit, I think they could beat. I think in a 7-game series, there's nobody where I'm like, well, they have no chance against them.
Nope. Yeah, completely agree. Anybody. They can beat anybody in this Eastern Conference. There isn't a team that is stuck out. There isn't like a stacked team like there is a Colorado in the West, in the East. No, the Jackets can beat anybody in a 7-game series.
Yeah, and it's a credit to the way they are playing and being where they're supposed to be. And defensively, they've been much better, and their goaltending has been much better. And it's been a joy to watch. I mean, this Rick Bowness era of the Jackets is must-see TV. And if you're not a big hockey fan, you should get into the Jackets because they are outstanding.
For sure.
Chad, last real quick hitter. The Cavaliers got dumped on by the Miami Heat tonight. I hate them sometimes. They're very inconsistent right now.
Yeah.
I got to say this. I didn't love Kenny's messaging after last night. They played a great game last night. Last night, I thought, was one of the most fun basketball games that you're going to see in an NBA regular season. The Orlando Magic came in and played out of their minds. Like a kind of game they don't normally play. They don't normally hit a lot of three-pointers. They hit a lot of three-pointers. They came out and played a full-on A game, and so did the Cavs. And right now, the Cavs are pretty locked into a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. So they're gonna host a series probably. And frankly, with the news about Cade Cunningham, because Detroit probably is still going to get the 1 seed, but with the news of Cade Cunningham probably being out for an extended period, I wouldn't mind if the Cavs wound up with the 4 seed.
Right. And
you get one of the play-in teams, and then you get Detroit. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
But I think the Cavs have to be better defensively. We saw it tonight against Miami. Having said that, you just won like a knockdown, drag-out fight of a game against Orlando, and then Kenny came out and was like, yeah, but if we keep playing defense like this, we're going to be out of the playoffs like in no time. Yeah. And I was like, I just don't know if that's the right time to deliver that message. Like, tonight would be the right time. Like, we couldn't stop Miami for anything. And if we play like that in the playoffs, we're going to be out quickly. But, like, man, I thought it was a little demoralizing after a big win in a hard-fought game where both teams, maybe didn't play great defense, but I didn't think the Cavs played terrible defense. I think Orlando just played really well. I just didn't know if that was the right time for it. I didn't know if that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. After a win, it's probably not. But, I mean, Donovan didn't seem to have a problem with it. He came out in the post-game presser saying, I love the honesty. So, I mean, sure. I mean, if your star player doesn't have a problem with it, I don't think it's that bad of a message.
I don't know, Chad. I don't know if there's a sport. You tell me, is there a sport that's harder to predict than what's going to happen in the playoffs than the NBA? Think about it. So think about it right now. If things ended right now, let's see. Conference. Okay. So in the conference, the play-in would be Philly versus Miami and Orlando versus Charlotte. And then whoever lost that Philly-Miami game would play the winner of Charlotte-Orlando. That would determine the play-in. But then it's Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Toronto, Atlanta. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea who's going to win those series?
Nope.
Like, could you put any two team together in that sequence and be like, yeah, yes, obviously you could. I feel like if you put the Cavs and the Sixers in a series, the Cavs are going to win that series.
Sure. Yeah.
But for the most part, like, especially when you look at the top four, Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen there.
No. As you shouldn't. I don't either.
Like, I feel like in the West, it's a little different. Like, I feel like if you put Houston up against Oklahoma City's going to take care of business.
Oklahoma City's probably going to repeat.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But, like, I like that about the NBA. But, like, the Cavs, I feel like when you're in the NBA, you almost have to coach. I don't know how you do it, Chad. I don't know how you coach your team to be ready for the playoffs. Because, again, that's the key in the NBA. You saw it with the Pacers last year. The hottest team in the NBA makes the deepest run.
Right. For sure.
How do you coach your team to be the hottest team at the playoffs?
You don't. They just do it.
They just do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I mean, it's only so much is on the coach. I mean, you hear it all the time. Only so much is on the coaches. Eventually, the players got to go out and execute.
Yeah, that's true. The Cavs have everything they need to succeed. They got to be the hottest team at the right time.
Right.
I don't know how you get that out of them.
Right.
That's the hardest thing in the NBA.
Right.
So anyways, Cavs playoff push underway. They've only got, hold on, what game was this? They've only got, I can't do that they got 9 games left. The Jackets only have 11 games left, so that playoff push is going to be fun. We hopefully have got an NHL team and an NBA team playing playoff hockey / basketball. Obviously, we got the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 coming up this week. We got Guardians baseball starting. This is peak sports season.
Fun sports.
This
time.
is peak sports.
Fun sports time.
Peak sports. So listen, it's time for us to get out of here for episode 307. Last thing for us to do are our cheers of the week. So Chad, why don't you kick us off? What's your cheer of the week?
My cheers goes to well, I already said it. It's the cornhole guy.
Oh, well.
Just a
shout out to that guy for disposing of a body not well.
Showing a real can-do attitude. You know, right? He showed that you can do anything that you put your mind to.
You put your mind to it, you're going to do it. Hell yes. My cheers, Layla Edwards. Had to give her one.
There you go.
Not only is she a gold medal winning Team USA hockey player, but she is, again, a collegiate champion now as they won the college championship. Layla Edwards, Cleveland Heights native, and she did that. And then I also want to give a shout out to the city of Seattle, because the NBA is going to expand. I think they're going to put a team in Vegas. I think they're going to put a team in Vegas and Seattle deserves that team back. We grew up with the Seattle Supersonics being really good most years. The Seattle Supersonics were a fun team most years for us growing up. And then for them to just leave after they get Kevin Durant and move to Oklahoma City, it sucked. It was, as a Browns fan, it sucked to watch another city go through that. And I think Seattle's going to get their basketball team back, and I think the Sonics are coming back to Seattle. So just want to give a shout out to that, because I think that makes basketball better. I also think Vegas is going to get a team, so we'll see what they call themselves. But I think that makes basketball better, so I will take that. So
Vegas prostitutes.
The whoas.
The Vegas whores.
All right, that's going to do it for episode 307. It's been a blast hanging out. Big shout out to the OBR for hosting us. Big shout out to all of you that joined us in the comments. You guys were a blast. A lot of great comments there. But we will be back next week for episode 308. Make sure you go follow the OBR and subscribe at theobr.com. Make sure you go follow our show at The Garage Beers on all the socials, and make sure you hit follow on that. And that'll do it for us. For Chad Meyer, go follow him at Garage Beers Chad. I am Michael Keefe at Garage Beers Mike. And go follow Joe, who probably isn't going to be here next week anyways, because he's traveling. But go follow him anyways at Garage Beers Joe. But that's going to do it for episode 307. See you next week for episode 308. Until then, as always, cheers, everybody.